The rabbi was advanced in years, and he knew that his time here on earth was quickly coming to an end. And so all of his students gathered around him, and they began to ask him questions. And one of the questions that was asked of the rabbi by his students was, "Are you afraid of dying?" And the rabbi replied, "I'm less afraid of dying, and I'm more afraid of what God is going to ask me." "What do you think he's going to ask you?" the students inquired of the rabbi. And the rabbi replied, "I'm afraid that he's going to ask me, 'Rabbi Heschel, why were you trying to be more like Moses?' And then he's going to ask me, 'Rabbi Heschel, why weren't you more Rabbi Heschel?'" And isn't that the truth? How much time we spend in our lives trying to be more like someone else. We spend a considerable amount of time comparing and contrasting who we are in relationship to other people. We define our successes, and we define our failures, and we define even our sicknesses in comparison to other people. I hear it all the time as I visit with people in the hospital or in the nursing homes, and they tell me about their aches and pains, and oftentimes they will conclude by saying, "But you know, Father Steve, there are a lot of people who are worse off than I am." How many times have we said that? We compare and we contrast ourselves to others. And please know that there's nothing necessarily wrong or evil or even bad about doing that until and unless it becomes, of course, how we are only able to see ourselves in relationship to the other. To be able to know ourselves, to appreciate ourselves, to recognize who we are in the eyes of God is an incredible gift, but something that takes perhaps a lifetime to discover. And I believe that there lies at the heart of all that, coming to know who we truly are and who God sees us as we are. It is therein where we will find the kernel of wisdom to be able to discover the voice. No, not the voice that you see on television, but the voice of the Good Shepherd. The voice whose sheep hear it and follow him. One of the great gifts that our parents give to us, and I think in a very special way our mothers, as we celebrate Mother's Day this weekend, is they help children, as we like to say, find their voice. Mothers are constantly, and parents are constantly teaching their children, first of all, how to speak, how to utter those first words, like mama and dada. It is parents, especially moms, who are always encouraging their kids to speak and to speak correctly. And then, of course, from speaking leads to being able to singing, whether they be nursery rhymes or the like. Parents, especially moms, are about helping their children find their voice. Not just to speak with, but the voice that lies within. There, my friends, is where the voice of the Good Shepherd speaks to us. And I know, for many of us, the image of Jesus as a Good Shepherd probably doesn't inspire us much, because most of us don't hang around sheep a lot. And most of us don't resonate with shepherds. Well then, my friends, find another image. Find another image that speaks to you about God's grace and life and voice that is within you, your own experiences of where God has led you, been present to you, helped you, forgiven you, and enabled you to be who you are, not who you think other people think you should be, or who you think you should be in relationship to other people. We have to come up with those images of God that will be able to help us, like rain that falls on parched land, or a letter that arrives that we've been longing for, or something that we've lost that we have all of a sudden discovered. Whatever the image might be that helps us understand that God is at the very center and the activity of our daily lives, it is then that we are able to connect up with that voice that speaks to us every day and encourages us to be ourselves, all of ourselves, that our successes are found, yes, even in the midst of our failures. Our accomplishments speak about the grace of God that is at work in our life. Those things that we encounter along life's way and those relationships that are so important to us reveal to us and give us a glimpse, if you will, of how God is ever present and ever new and ever living in our life. On this Good Shepherd Sunday, we are invited to find our voice. And it means being ourselves more than it means being like someone else. And so we come to the table of the Lord, and we recognize that the voice of the Good Shepherd calls out to us each and every day, calling us to follow him, calling us to learn how to love because of his love for us. And while we hear that voice, we find it, and we follow it, and we become it for one another.